Ah, so you thought I was done after one video. No, you didn't. You knew this was coming. We all knew this was coming. I'm going to talk more about my quote-unquote speech disorder that I believe I have. So if you watch the first video, I'll just do a quick recap. I believe that I cannot communicate the same way as other people. I believe I have a weird way of explaining things, and that in a lot of conversations, I am just unable to keep up with the momentum of the conversation. I can establish my own momentum, as in, like, I can think of something to say to add to a conversation, but I can never just really sit back and let things fly off the tongue like other people seem to do. Like when people make small talk about the weather, what they did last weekend, what so-and-so is doing. I can't do that. I've never been able to. Maybe under mass hypnosis, perhaps I could. Mass hypnosis. I think that's just singular hypnosis. Anyway, I can't do that. So I gotta talk about, I guess, how this has affected my life, which is in a not very fun way. Basically, for the last couple of months, I have been in isolation. Unless I need to work or get food, do some sort of necessary activity, I'm keeping it posted at home. I'm not doing anything. The reason being is that I am now being triggered just by seeing normal people talk to each other. I know that sounds crazy. Like that's basically a phobia of human beings, but that's what I'm dealing with right now. If I go out to I guess the grocery store, will use that again, and I see like people chilling and talking, or maybe like there's a customer talking with a cashier, they're chopping it up, I get triggered by that, because it's like, fuck man, they're doing the thing I can't do. Or if I see somebody, like maybe on a TED Talk, give a really in-depth explanation about something where they just use they just have all this evidence on board and they're able to rattle it off really quick. I'm like, fuck man, I can't pull from my memory like that. That makes me feel like shit. So I genuinely just don't like hearing other people. I love people. I want to be friends with people, but this thing I'm going through keeps me at home. And yes, I am trying to go to therapy for this. I am trying to go through treatments where I can better myself to either deal with this fact, overcome it, or some combination of both. But it has been really debilitating for me. And I wish I could say it only stops at being around people, but even when I'm watching TV shows, even fucking anime these days, I just watch it and I'm like, fuck man, these characters are communicating better than I ever could. That guy has a smart remark to everything. I can't even fucking respond when somebody quips at me. And it's almost at this point where I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to do anything anymore. I don't even watch YouTube anymore, because I'm just like, all my favorite content creators, again, hey, they're doing the thing that I want to do, and that makes me feel bad. And that really sucks, because people are fucking amazing. There are so many cool people out in the world, that I'd love to be friends with, I'd love to meet. But just because of this one thing, I'm fucking afraid of them all. And that's not a way to live. I know that. And I hope to improve in the future. But that's kind of where I am right now. I guess I can also talk about sort of how this all manifested and why I ended up like this. And that goes back to a dinner I had about 4 months ago with a group of friends. When we hung out, it was me, a very good friend of mine, and then two friends who we hadn't seen in a while. But I was the contact point for everybody. I knew everybody, in the friend group, and I was kind of introducing them to each other. At least I should have been, right? Because once we sat down and we started talking, I was the quietest person there. And I couldn't understand why. It was like, in reality, I should have more in common with everybody here and be able to, like, connect certain lines, get people talking about stuff. But in reality, my friend next to me was doing most of the talking. He was just like so easily able to be in and go like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" Like, "Oh man, like what anime do you watch? I like that too." Ha 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 ha. And just all this beautifully phrased speech that I just sat by and I'm like, "Fuck, man, like how do I get as good as you?" In that moment I was like that anyway. And then as we started talking, one of the friends from across the table mentioned like, "Oh, what video games are you guys playing?" And then like without even thinking, my other friend was just like Belantro, Slots and Daggers, Slay the Spire. And like he had like a perfect like way to describe each of them, which is something I struggle with. If you watch the first one, I at least believe I struggle with describing things. But it was like the whole table lit up and they were all talking about Slay the Spire 2. And then like the person from the booth next to us like cranes his head over and he's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about Slay the Spire? Oh, that's my favorite game too. Oh, blah, 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 blah." And everyone's just engaged in this frenzy of like love for this game, which I've played too. And I can't add anything to the conversation. What am I supposed to say? Ironclad fucking sucks? Like that's probably the first thing that would come to my mind. And like that, that probably just pissed somebody off if I said it. Probably pissed someone off in the comments. But like that defense build is not doing me any favors. If anyone has any better suggestions for Ironclad to Slay the Spire, let me know. But anyway, I digress. That situation sort of happened and I walked out of the conversation feeling alien. I felt like, how is he able to talk like this? How are my other friends able to engage so easily when I'm just stuck here frozen without anything to say? But at that time, I sort of stowed it away as this is something I can improve upon. Maybe I can do it through diet or going to improv or doing some kind of thing to up my social skills, right? So I stowed it. About 2 months later, I had actually done most of those things. I was eating very healthy. I normally do. And I was genuinely like going to improv, going to volunteer work, doing a bunch of shit with my time. And we went to an anime convention. Me and about 9 other friends, we ganged up, we were rolling deep, and we decided, to have a fun weekend out at the anime convention. So as we're walking through the dealer's hall, I noticed that all of my friends are just super engaged with everything that's happening around them. They're like, "Oh, look at that shirt, right? Look at that poster over there with Ichigo on it, or that Jujutsu Kaisen merchandise. Oh, that reminds me of like the Maharaga fight." And like they just jump into these tangents and I'm like, fuck, man, how do I do that? How do I just like start talking passionately about things? I am just as passionate I'm probably more passionate than most of my friends about anime. I've watched a shitload of shows. But like when I'm sitting there, nothing is coming to mind. And I test it. I'm like, okay, let me look for something to point out. And I spend like 10 seconds looking over until I see a print of Ganondorf, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, like check out that Ganondorf print." And that was all I said. And then immediately my friend comes over and he has this amazing idea where he's like, "I'm going to AI generate a picture of Ganondorf and just add silly little things to it." And, he did like this photo where he made it look like himself, and he was having the goofiest little time about it, which, I mean, I was happy for him, like it was genuinely funny, but I'm just like, where is this creativity in my brain? Why can't I pull from these like reserves of inspiration and just like talk about shit? And by the end of the day, I just felt defeated by it. I was like, fuck, man, we all went to the anime convention. We all had fun and shit, but I really didn't like feel like I was there. Compared to you guys, I felt like a ghost. There were like little other situations too where like, we'd go and we'd take photos with cosplayers. And it's like, when I go and talk to a cosplayer, I'll be like, oh, hey, like, I like your cosplay. Do you mind if I get a photo? Snap, snap, get out of there. With them, it's like, oh, I love your costume. And then they take a picture and then they like continue to have conversation in this like very like fluid sort of, we're all just chilling out kind of way. Whereas if I did it, it would feel like an interrogation. It'd be like, oh, like, I really like your, chain. How did you make that? Like, it's just really awkward and stilted whenever I do it. So I tend not to these days, but, yeah, it just like the difference between myself and my friends who, again, they're all like on the spectrum-y, just like me, but they're just leaps and bounds ahead of me. And I saw all that, and I reached a point where I just told myself, there is something wrong with me. And shortly after that convention, I fell into a depression, which leads me to where I am today. I am isolating from people because it is scary to see all of these people equipped with the hardware or the software, I don't fucking know, that you don't have. It just becomes demoralizing after a while. And I can't be around it right now. And that's really unfortunate because I do want to make friends with people. I do want to go to the anime convention and goof around and talk about Slay the Spire and do all this stuff. But right now I'm just so triggered by everything. It's unfortunate, but hey, I had a bunch of people in my comments tell me, you talk fine, you explain things pretty well. To me, I'm my harshest critic, so I'm like, that's all nice of you to say, but you don't really know me. But it is nice to hear, and those are the kind of things that keep me going, right? My friends tell me the same thing, like, you're fine, dude, you're fine. And I guess I'm the one who is struggling with it, I mean, literally I am, but maybe this is something I just have to beat. I don't feel very hopeful about it right now, but, like I said, I'm in therapy for a reason. So if you listened this far, I commend you. I don't know how you got through my garbled ass speech, but I salute you. And until next time, take care of yourself and have a good one.